Welcome to the first edition of Chat City, an all-student TV talk show produced as part of the Multimedia Journalism program here at LAU. Our first episode is dedicated to an important issue that matters to all women: media and body image. More specifically, we will try to answer the question of how have social media changed the way we look at our body.
To answer these questions, we will be hosting 3 expertise in the field of media and gender studies: Sara Malad, Dima Dabbous, and Tala Harib.
But we won't be only talking to researchers. Also here, we have 2 widely followed fashion bloggers. But first, let's take a look on how social media changed the way advertising and the fashion industry define beauty standards.
The media and fashion industry have long been blamed for promoting a superficial and unhealthy body image. Their preference for super slim size 0 models, we were told, is pushing women into eating disorders, anxiety, and chronic dissatisfaction with their looks. But then came the internet and the do-it-yourself culture of social media. At last, it was up to us to set the trend of the day.
You're never going to get to a size and then suddenly that's it, you're golden. It's always going to be this continual battle within yourself, and it's something you're always going to have to fight for and strive for, to love who you are and to know that this body is okay.
I like that I have cheeks, I like that I have full lips, and I like that I have hips, and I like that I have a waist and a chest.
But did all those selfies and YouTube celebrities really turn things around and make beauty ideals more democratic? The story of Yasmina would suggest otherwise.
I had the dream life. I had 500,000 people interested in me on social media. I had over 100,000 views on most of my videos on YouTube. I had it all. And I was miserable, because when you let yourself be defined by numbers, you let yourself be defined by something that is not pure, that is not real, and that is not love.
What a dramatic statement. Here with me today is Sara Malad, expert in media and digital literacy. She will be discussing the severeness of how social media can affect body image. Hi, Sara.
Hi, Natasha.
How do you think that cases like Eileen's can actually constitute negative effects on self-esteem, like potential negative effects?
Well, I think that she illustrates that there is a bit of a pushback against the dominant culture of how women are represented in social media, but it's still a very small minority. And there were issues in following up after the case that people were accusing her that it was only a hoax and that she was doing it for more attention or to raise money. So I don't know. I mean, there is a bit of a pushback, but in comparison to the majority, it's quite small.
So we can't argue that there are 2 sides to it. So there's the YouTube celebrities who don't fit to the size 0 categories. And on the other hand, we also feel there's the narcissistic self-obsessive trends of posting selfies, posting constantly on Snapchat. So how do you think that this has direct effects on the way we feel about our body image?
I mean, like you said, it is a double-edged sword. So the participatory nature of digital media gives young women and young men, let's not leave men out of this conversation as well, more control over the representations that they put of themselves out into the world. So it can diversify the kinds of body image or body types that we see, but at the same time there's such a push to be on 24/7 and to be on display, and there's no separation anymore between on stage and backstage, which puts a lot of pressure on young people in particular to be perfect and put together at all times.
Okay, so this was regarding social media. How is that any different from magazines, like printed magazines or TV, for instance?
Because media consumers nowadays, I think, we're aware that Photoshop exists, that the message is controlled, and it's a package that it is constructed. Whereas with digital media, because it's the everyday person using it and everybody's using it, we tend to think that it's more authentic or more original, or real, or organic, I guess we could say. But that's not the case, because now we have the increasing tools of, we can self-edit our own images or, play with the filters.
We used to think that it's the photoshopped supermodels who actually set the trends. But nowadays, it's more the original people. Like in social media, it's the bloggers, they're ordinary people like me and you and everyone. Do you think that has negative or positive effects? Because we can't but realize that it has created a competition, even among friends, It's because friends see each other more often, so they have this pressure of making sure that they fit in, that they look equally nice, or, you know, so that they don't get bullied, for instance.
There's a growing case of bullying, online bullying, because they are shamed into putting more of content of themselves online that is sometimes even hypersexualized, that is risque. But it's, you know, they're damned if they do and damned if they don't, because if they don't put that content online, then they're shamed for not participating and they don't fit in. But if they do, then they're shamed for being too suggestive or not perfect, or, you know, the hair is not right, or there's a pimple. And so it really is a breeding ground for really intense forms of bullying. And we've seen this, it's a growing public health concern, particularly in the US and in Europe, with kids committing suicide because of these kinds of problems. So it's not just a vanity issue or a media issue, it really is a public health concern.
Taking a selfie with the social media nowadays, it allows for immediate posting of the pictures, which makes them public. Having our pictures online makes the audience part of the way we take the picture, because they can see it. So do you think that constitutes criteria on how we take a picture because it has become immediately public?
It's no longer a self-documentation tool anymore. It is a performance tool. It's something that's being used and composed with the public and with the audience who's going to be consuming or viewing that image online in mind from the get-go.
So by performance, do you mean that everything is scripted and nothing is left to chance anymore?
Absolutely, absolutely. And this is not really such a new idea. It's just morphed into a new playing field. I mean, Irving Goffman, one of the foremost sociologists in 1959, came up with the idea of dramaturgy, and that all the world is a stage and that we're all performing. The only difference now is that there is no more difference between public and private.
Do you feel that we might be willing executioners of things we might have opposed if we had time to reflect on the picture we're going to post, let's say?
Yes, absolutely.
So is that dangerous?
Yes, absolutely.
Do people feel that it's necessary to have filters in order to feel satisfied about how they look with the picture they actually produce at the end?
I think people do, because there's such a, you know, the online world is such a ripe place for judgment and snap commentary and anonymous. You know, you would never comment on someone's photo that they showed you, oh, your hair looks terrible, right? If you're sitting face to face. But when you have that anonymity of the online sphere, people can say very vicious things. So,
okay. Thank you, Sarah.
You're most welcome.
We wanted to get questions from actual people around campus, so we took campus and we went around and we asked Alieh students, if you could change one thing about yourself, what would it be?
If I want to change something in me, it's my posture.
My eyes.
Toes. Definitely gain more weight.
I would change my height, like I don't have to cut the pants, and then it'll make shopping easier.
We live in a society where there's so much pressure on women and ladies to have the perfect body and be the perfect person.
I'm literally that perfect, you know. I have a great body, a great smile.
I want to lose some belly fat because I'm kind of fat right now.
Although I'm influenced by people around me, but I believe that I'm satisfied with the way my body is.
It used to bother me that I was a little bit short, but now after 38 years on planet Earth, I'm quite happy with my height.
I'm 2 meters and 15 centimeters tall, but I've always wanted to be 2 meters and 17 centimeters tall. I don't know why, it's just a personal goal that I've always had, and it would make me very, very happy to be that tall.
I wouldn't change anything because you wouldn't get to eat all the soju, all the tomatoes, all the food, and
Did someone just say soju?
Yeah. You should love yourself for who you are and live your life to the fullest.
Judged by a quick little survey, we have seen that Alieh students are quite satisfied with their bodies. Maybe there is a change. Social media are changing the way that we feel about our bodies. With me here are two widely followed fashion bloggers, Tania and Tala. Tell us, what was their inspiration into starting writing a fashion blog?
I think I struggled with my body image, and that's when I discovered that I wanted to change the idea of what a woman should be in others' eyes. And to help myself, I tried to help others.
And Megan?
In my case, it was like I saw on social media everything was copy paste, and it was like boring. So we had to make a change to tell people that you don't have to be copy paste to fit in. You can be yourself.
So both of you were basically challenging the idea of beauty that was constructed by the advertising and the fashion industry.
That's true, yes.
Can you tell us about your followers? Who are they?
They're mainly focused in Lebanon, you know, and they're between 19 and 30.
Do you have a relationship with them? Like, we've seen your Instagram posts. Do you receive direct messages? Do you reply to their comments? Do you have a relationship with them? Can you tell us about it more indeed?
Through comments, we interact. Through direct message, we always get questions about where did you get this from, and where is this place, you know?
And if you had to summarize the main aim in your blog, what would it be?
I think my blog is about confidence. It's something that I really like to share about and like to tell like my journey about it and everything.
In my case, it's like you can be a better version of yourself. You don't have to fit in. It's always yourself, not copy paste. I focus on that mainly.
And we've just recently discussed the idea of peer pressure and bullying. Both of you, have you ever received like comments or criticization to what you've posted on your blogs?
Of course, because once you're on social media and once you're on the internet, basically, you are criticized on a daily basis.
Can you tell us from previous examples, as an example, and how you've responded to such comments on your blogs?
At first, I used to ignore them to make keep them hurting me and like just forget about them later on. But then I started answering, basically, like when someone gives me a negative comment, I would like ask them, okay, why? Like, sorry, like I didn't like that. Okay, why? And like I try to understand their point of view. But some of them are just like roaming the internet to like hate on people. Yeah. So like these kind of people you can't really
just to spread negativity.
Exactly.
And our aim is like to spread positive vibes, not negativity.
I don't know, we never changed anything in our body for any reason.
It's not like you open our Instagram account and it's like, it's not a fairy tale, it's real. Everyone can relate, especially in the age of 19 and 20s.
So is it what you post or how you do it?
Like both
of them?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So Megan and Taya are certainly a perfect example of how to resist being defined by the dictate of catwalks or the advertising industry. And yet, at the same time, when looking at the rising number of cosmetic surgeries, particularly in Lebanon, some people still seem to not be able to make peace with their bodies. As a result, they undergo painful measurements and surgeries in order to achieve the bodies they want. Before my colleague Maria discusses this further with the media and gender researcher Dima Dabbous, let's have a look on how big plastic surgery really is in Lebanon.
Cosmetic surgery is one of the few booming industries in Lebanon. 1.5 million beauty operations are now performed every year, a 25% increase compared to just 5 years ago. There are even certified bank loans for up to $5,000 for everyone under 64. The only condition? The person has to be employed. 1 out of 3 women, according to a recent survey, has had at least one surgery in her lifetime. But men are quickly catching up. 30% of cosmetic procedures are now performed on males. Lebanon has come a long way to establish itself as the capital of plastic surgery. The industry started with reconstructive medicine for victims of the civil war, but cosmetic treatments soon became a powerful business, catering to people from all around the globe. 20 to 40% of patients today come from Arab countries such as Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and Jordan. But the number of overseas clients from the US, Canada, Europe, and Australia is also on the rise. The comparatively cheap price makes Lebanon an attractive destination. A nose job in the UK, for example, costs $4,000, $6,000 in the US, but only $2,000 in Lebanon. The most common procedures are nose jobs, liposuction, implants, and after weight loss surgeries. According to those who have put themselves through this, the operations seem to change much more than just looks.
So 2 trends coexist. People who do not fit the size 0 standard have found a platform to voice their own standards and style, even to reach fame. Yet, another trend in society is the rise of plastic surgery operations, whereby 1.5 million surgeries are conducted each year in Lebanon. Yes, that's half the number of its citizens. To comment on this trend and phenomenon in society, I'm happy to welcome Dr. Dima Dabbous, a leading scholar in the fields of gender studies, women's studies, and media as well. Welcome to our show, Dr. Dima.
Thank you for hosting me. It's my pleasure.
So, Dr. Dima, there are around 700 plastic surgery clinics in Lebanon. Banks are even offering loans for plastic surgeries for women. And Beirut is the capital of plastic surgery in the world. How can we comment on this phenomena or this rise of plastic surgeries in this country? Does it explain a kind of social pressure that is being forced on women?
I think there are several factors that explain why Beirut or Lebanon is the country to go to for plastic surgery. But I think I wouldn't say worldwide. I think Brazil beats Lebanon, but regionally, definitely, this is the place to go if you want to have plastic surgery because of affordability. Prices relatively, I mean, if you compare prices with the United States, they're much more expensive. And now, nose job or a boob job, they're much more expensive than what you pay here. So affordability, proximity for the entire Arab region, and quality. I think quality of service would explain. But these are all technical, if you want, reasons. They're not the social reasons.
Exactly.
Social reasons, of course, this is all a reflection of a world that is more and more into looks. And it's not a new trend. But it's just becoming more of the normal thing to do. A few years ago, if somebody has a nose job, people looked. Now it's normal. You go on vacation, you come back with a tape on your nose, and nobody asks questions anymore. So in that respect, it's sadly, I would say sadly, because it's the rise in investing in your physical and outer appearance, which is made more and more affordable and more socially acceptable.
So another issue in the feminist argument is that women who do plastic surgery operations are depicted as passive victims to unspoken pressures in society. Do you agree, or is it more liberating women and allowing them to have more control on their body? And which argument do you support?
I can see the temptation to say that it's liberating, it helps you have self-confidence, but let's think about it. What is self-confidence? Of course, looking good has always been, important in our lives, but there is an obsession with looking good, and that's the problem. And it's being done at the expense of investing in your soul, investing in your intellect, investing in your work, in your professional achievements. None of that exists anymore. There is an obsession, and there is like this whole image and self-image is now concentrated on how perfectly do I look? And that is the problem. So I don't see it as empowering, because once you get down that lane, you're constantly gonna think, oh, I can look even better. My lips are gonna be bigger, and my boobs are gonna be bigger, and my waist gonna be smaller. Where does it stop? And we talk about addiction. So it's not liberating at all. You become slave to your looks and to plastic surgery.
So we said, where does it stop? But where does it begin? Why are such historical patterns always reoccurring in society?
Because humanity is vain. Because it's easier to be superficial than it is to be deep. Because it's easier to concentrate on your looks than it is to go do good deed and help the poor and do a social activism and change the world to make it better, to make the life of miserable people, refugees, you name it. It's so much easier. You just pay and you don't even want to exercise. It's so much easier to go have it sucked and then you put it back on, then have it sucked again. Because I know from myself, when people say, oh, you have, a good figure for your age. I say, yeah, I exercise a lot. You see the look on their face, because it's hard work. So people don't want to work. And that's why plastic surgery is such a laziness.
It's the whole regime beneath
laziness combined with vanity. Okay. I mean, these are human traits that have been with us from the beginning. And now more and more the possibility to act on it is there. Just a click away with your card if you want. You go to hospital, you come back the next day, it's gone.
So speaking about laziness, statistics show that women make 24% of the workforce in Lebanon. We also know that the parliament barely has 4% of its members as females. Can we consider that because the professional sphere is not available for women, women are diverting their attention and energy to invest more in their looks and appearance? Is there a link? Is there a cause and effect, or?
I don't think it has been researched, so I will stick to my own opinion. I don't think it's fair to say that because women are not working, the pressure is to look good since you're not working. No, I think what's happening, we live in a patriarchal, sexist culture. So a lot of women are working, but those who are working also do not have access to highly paid jobs or senior level jobs. So they are restricted in that sense. And it could be also in the hiring process. Even if they want to work, they will hire the young man who applied and not the young woman for the same, qualifications. So you have all these factors, plus of course the fact that sometimes women themselves accept the discrimination by thinking, oh, my role as a mother is more important, so I will have my degree, but I will dedicate my life to raising my children. So let's not always blame others, because sometimes women make that choice but are not aware also of the consequences of that choice. And I don't think it's the women who work who do the plastic surgery, by the way. I think women who are working, they're very busy. They're very busy, and their time is divided among important things in life. I think it's mostly the women who are stay-at-home moms.
But another opinion is that even working women, like there's a say that you can't find a job in Lebanon unless you're good looking.
Yeah,
so
because
this
the hiring people are men.
The statement you have said.
Because the people who are hiring are men. If
so
women
the
hire,
world is responsible for it. Can we consider this as a correct statement?
No, it's not really correct. It depends on the jobs. Again, if you're looking for jobs that require physique, and for instance, look at the TV stations, let's say, okay? So if you want a job in the media, why are you applying for a presenter? Why isn't your ambition to be a director or to be an editor, to work behind the camera? Because young women themselves are accepting that stereotype and are putting themselves in a situation where their looks count towards finding a position. But if your job requires expertise that has nothing to do with looks, you will get that job. So assuming, again, you're not applying to a modeling agency or to a job where you're appearing in front of the camera. So, of course, if you look at the satellite television stations, you will see women in front of the camera, but that doesn't mean they're the brain behind the work. So this is really sad. This is why, actually, we should encourage...
So we should blame women more than the corporate world?
I don't know about the blame thing, because it's a total system. These young women are also the product of a larger cultural web that pushes them sometimes, and it's very difficult to find somebody piercing through it. You have to have a lot of courage, and you have to be a non-mainstream to say, no, I want to do engineering. I want to, go for the jobs that are traditionally masculine.
A continuous cycle.
Yes. So, I mean, look at LAU. We have a nursing school, and young men have a hard time applying because they think, oh, this is a job for women. So they're actively trying to recruit. We have a problem with this gendered division of labor, and we have to go beyond it and actually realize that just go for what you really like to do in life, and looks should not play, other than looking good in the sense, if your shoes are dirty, that's not a good sign when you go to a job interview. If you're neat, if you present yourself, but this obsession with looks is what's scary, not the attempt to look good. I mean, I like to separate those two.
Okay. So our final question is, what's the role of media in promoting cosmetic surgery or this obsession with looks? Like, for example, many local and foreign TV productions are concerned with individual transformation. They present victims who are not good looking and convince viewers that once this victim undergoes an operation, all tragedy and misery in his or her life will end. What are the risks beneath these messages? What are the forces beneath them? Are there any economic forces?
Well, the answer to that is simple if we consider the political economy of the media, and that's something that Naomi Wolf talked about very well to explain. It's in the interest of media, which are part of a larger business, web of interlocking control of different companies, but most of them, the cosmetic companies and the shakes, all those shakes that you can drink so to lose weight, Weight Watchers. I mean, think of, this is a multi-billion-dollar business worldwide. It's really big business. And the media are a business, and they're there to promote bigger business that might own them or have shares in them. So to say that the media are acting independently is utterly naive. It means you don't really understand how things work. So you have the media. They want advertisers. Most advertisers are related to the beauty industry as a whole. So you want to attract them. Your shows, you're going to present shows where beauty, perfection is what is going to be a vehicle for these advertisements. So if you're watching a soap, look at the soaps. They're all about picture perfect women and men. They live lavish lifestyles. They can afford, luxury items because plastic surgery is a luxury also item. So what are they going to do? They're going to try to convince you, not only through the ads they carry, but through the programs they offer you. Like, for instance, Botch, which is, by the way, I watch it religiously, but I like it for different reasons. But shows where you actually bring people, and I think we had this Arabic version where they take women who do not have the good teeth or the good lips, and then they fix them so that they feel good about themselves. This is, of course, a vehicle for the advertisement in that show that is going to push you to go and buy the services. So, of course, they're guilty in that sense. They're guilty of promoting a specific type of beauty that you can only acquire by paying. I mean, how about inner beauty? How about the beauty that comes from feeling good about the things you do in life? They have no business, promoting that kind of beauty because it's not related to money. That's why I say the political economy of beauty. Beauty is important if you can pay to acquire it. The moment beauty is natural, is God-given, the media will go out of business. So they're not going to promote this kind of beauty.
So the risks is that making the society more superficial.
Very superficial, bent on spending in order to achieve that kind of beauty. You have to spend. It's not something, because look, if you have thin lips, then you have to invest to make them fuller. Or if you have full lips, you have to have surgery to make, whatever you have should not be good enough because you need something drastic or with makeup to alter it, which means paying money. And that is good for business.
Speaking of makeup, I don't know if you have seen the last video of the Moroccan.
Don't tell me.
How would you comment on this video that showed women who are victims of domestic violence hiding their bruises and the tashes on their faces by makeup, and the whole show was branding makeup brands.
because it was advertising. This show was supported by advertisers who are advertising makeup, and the makers are so unethical, so unaware of the discourse on human rights and gender equality and domestic and this is of course the 16 days of violence against women. You're celebrating how to stop it. They're so out of it. They're not even aware of the problems out there. They are focused on selling makeup. So for them, it's the ultimate, solution is to bring somebody who's disfigured, and then, of course, in this case, by her husband or partner, and let's use this wonderful makeup to conceal the bruises. That just shows you for me, it's caricatural. It's very sad, it's unethical, it's unacceptable, but it's also caricatural to show you this drive to sell is paramount and comes first, and it exposes that actually the media are in the business of just making us spend our money, and if they have to do this to do it, they will do it. So it makes me laugh, it makes me cry.
No ethical borders. Okay. Thank you, Dr. Dima, for joining us in this show and for this interesting discussion. This year, the UN appointed another female ambassador for women's empowerment. She is a woman, she has special powers, and she is a cartoon character. She is Wonder Woman, an equivalent of Superman that was created in 1941. Her appointment was reacted upon with very fierce criticism because she is highly sexualized and she represents the very same feminist stereotypes of women. Let's watch a small video to get to know more who Wonder Woman is.
Wonder Woman came into this world in October 1941 on an all-women fantasy island. Her inventor, the comic artist and Harvard psychologist William Marston, wanted to create a new style of superhero, inspired by the women's suffrage movement in the US. He gave her all the strength of Superman, combined with the allure of a brave and beautiful woman. A new female role model was born. Wonder Woman can fly and spin like a whirlwind. Her tight red bustier and her accessories leave little to be imagined. They make open reference to bondage and her creator's fable for hardcore sex. Marston believed that women were superior to men who exercise power through violent subjugation. Women, on the other hand, persuade through sexual appeal. For Marston, the ultimate weapon to overcome patriarchal constraints. During World War II, much in line with the zeitgeist at the time, Wonder Woman embodied the spirit of a courageous, independent working woman. While men were sent off to war in Europe, she successfully defended the home front using her appearance as much as her wit. Yet things changed dramatically once the war ended. As soon as men returned to positions of power, Wonder Woman's magic had to be domesticated, redirected to matters of romance and love. Wonder Woman's costumes, both in the original comic strip and the later TV adaptation, made her a controversial figure of her time. Ironically enough, it was not the chains or her breasts that sparked controversy, but her naked back. Throughout her career, Wonder Woman walked a fine line between powerful goddess and sex symbol, incorporating the power of women's liberation and sexist fantasies at the same time. Which of the two is she really?
So as we have seen, Wonder Woman's appointment was met with fierce criticism, yet it was also met with applause. Many saw her as an independent heroine. To comment more on how the appointment of Wonder Woman was welcomed in the Arab world, I'm happy to welcome Mrs. Tala from the Institute for Women's Studies in the Arab world. Ms. Tala, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So more than 1,000 members of the UN staff signed a petition after Wonder Woman's appointment that read, "The United Nations was unable to find a real-life woman that would be able to champion the rights of all women." They were also concerned with her visibly sexualized image. First, how did you react to this appointment?
Well, obviously I was shocked, especially that in the Institute we work on empowering women through project development, through equipping them with technical skills, research for policymakers, etc. So we were shocked, especially that we know that in the Arab region, if you want to focus a little bit, there are a lot of role models, but they're not as apparent as men role models. So I think it's insulting for women to have to choose a comic character rather than a woman that has accomplished so much more than Wonder Woman, that can actually attend meetings, that can actually fly and attend missions, that can teach girls and women about the lessons learned for battling in a patriarchal society or even in the workforce. I don't think Wonder Woman can do that.
For Marston, the creator of Wonder Woman, his point of view is that this character was intended to institute a peaceful matriarchal utopia. To him, her erotic image is more a symbol of sexual liberation. So, can we sympathize with this opinion, or is it more like the point of view of a male?
Okay, of course, we as women shouldn't be judged based on our decisions, the way we choose to, what we want to wear, etc. So from that point of view, yes, he might be right. We can do whatever we want, we can dress the way we want. But you are talking to a country with a lot of diversity, and you have the Arab region, for example. This woman is provocative because rather than focusing on advancing their rights and seeking gender equality, they're going to focus on protecting their political, religious ideologies because they're going to feel attacked. So, plus, okay, you might say in the West, yes, this is a form of sexual liberation, etc. But in the Arab countries, there are so many steps to reach this point, so many conditions, so many barriers, so many social, economic barriers that we have to, if you want, destroy. And I'm still not with the, I don't promote women in that light. Yes, exactly, and that image, because rather than removing layers of clothes, I think we should add layers to our brain.
So building on what you've said, in addition to the fact that Wonder Woman has a sexualized image, another comment was that she's from a Caucasian origin. So to what extent can we consider that her appointment was like a unifying force instead of a divisive factor?
The fact that she has a tiny waist, that she looks like like she's stuck in a 25-year-old body, that she has huge breasts, that she reinforces all the stereotypes that social media and the media and magazine have been perpetuating, and everything that has been affecting women, decreasing their self-confidence, increasing their anger and frustrations, leading them to surgery, to anorexia, all kinds of negative effects on women. So from that point of view, I don't think I agree with...
like, can we add the origin to this list that you just mentioned?
Yes.
Her body characteristics?
Yes, so based on these characteristics, obviously she doesn't speak to everyone. And as I said before, she actually attacks and provokes Arab cultures and society. Furthermore, she's wearing a swimming suit that has the US flag on. Also, the way she dresses. So
we can consider that she belongs to a certain group of people, not all women.
Yeah, she doesn't speak to all the women population. And also, it doesn't mean that she speaks to the Western women. I mean, you said that the petition gathered a lot of opposition.
True. So let's comment on the aspect that she is a pop culture icon. So in several campaigns, we've seen that pop culture icons have been used to promote like awareness for cancer, AIDS, etc. So what does the Institution for Women's Studies think about using pop culture icons for such causes? Is it positive, negative? How would you explain it as an institution?
No, of course it can be negative and it can be positive. It depends on how you apply it. For example, the things or the activities that we've engaged in are our animated song called In My Hand, which is letter to all the youth, and it's animated so it can attract more youth to vote, to not feel shame if they've been abused, to speak up. So we do encourage that, but it depends again how you apply it. And we also have screenings, we have plays. So it's very important, especially that unfortunately youth don't read as much, they're not engaged in that. And if you want to change really the way they think or implement this gender identity in them, you have to, if you want, go towards them to get them where you want.
So after weighing the pros and cons, like who would you have appointed instead?
This is a very hard question, I think, because there are a lot of women that can fit this role. I mean, from the list of the candidates that were running for the Secretary General to my personal experiences with my supervisors or managers at work. So I don't think I would choose one role model. I think I would choose one trait in each and try to follow that.
Thank you, Mrs. Tala, for joining us in this show. This was indeed an exhaustive, informative episode. Stay with us and watch our next episodes. For now, thank you for watching and goodbye.